Hi, this is Joel Persinger. I'm the Gun Guy. Thank you very much for watching my videos. I really do deeply appreciate it. In fact, you can tell I deeply appreciate it because we're getting this weird thing coming out of the sky called rain. We're in Southern California. I don't know what rain is, but when we get it, it's really kind of cool. So we're getting a lot of rain today, and I'm standing out in the rain just for you. I've got a special pistol for you today. It's called a Walther P38. This particular pistol is on loan to me by a collector who fortunately doesn't mind that I have it out in the rain because I'll get it all cleaned up for him and get it back to him in a couple of days. The P38 is a great pistol because it's the forerunner of a lot of things that we see today in current pistols. And I'll tell you about some of those in just a couple of minutes. But really, the pistol was designed to replace another pistol, which you've probably heard of, which is the Luger. And that was the issue pistol for the German military for a while. And it's a great pistol. I love shooting them. They are incredibly accurate. The problem with Lugers is they're very complex and a little bit finicky where ammunition is concerned. If you get them dirty, they don't quite want to run right, and they're very expensive to build and maintain. So the German Army wanted a pistol that was simpler, was a little bit more reliable as a result perhaps, and less expensive to build and easier to maintain. And so they started looking at developing a new pistol. And the concept of the P38 was actually accepted by the German Army back in 1938. And that's where it gets its number designation from. Now, they didn't start using it until about 1940-41 because the concept was accepted in 38, but they didn't start building prototypes until 1939. And they really didn't start mass production of this pistol until 1940. They're chambered in 9mm parabellum, also called 9mm Luger, and 9x19mm, and so on. But there have been some other models, some experimental models chambered in 38 Super, 45 ACP, and some other calibers over time. There weren't a lot of them built, so if you happen to run into one, that might have some collector's value to it. Now, I'm not a collector, so I don't know a ton about the collector's value of these pistols or the various insignias on them. I'm going to show you what they look like. But if you're a collector and you know those things, please chime in the comments and let us know. What I am is a firearms enthusiast and a firearms instructor, and the first thing I wanted to do was take this thing to the range. So we did. Now, once we got to the range, I discovered what a joy this pistol is to shoot. The trigger's magnificent. The only issue with it is it kept shooting low. I thought it was me, but after I worked with it for a while, I realized it was not. The pistol just naturally shot low, so I had to naturally aim high. It was fun shooting the steel, fun shooting the target, but at the end of the day, we absolutely had to shoot some soda cans. And then, of course, you got to shoot a 2-liter, right? Holy smoke! Let's see if we can get that bad boy again. I mentioned before that the P38 was somewhat of a groundbreaking pistol in a lot of respects, and there's a few reasons why. It is the first locked breech pistol that had a double action, single action approach to firing, which means you press the trigger the first time and it cocks the hammer and lets it fall, and then you press it subsequent times, and each subsequent time is now single action because the slide cocks the hammer each time. That allowed the gun to be carried with a round in the chamber, but the hammer dropped safely using a decocker, which you'll see here on the side of the pistol. Now, the Walther PPK was an earlier pistol, and it did have some of those features, but remember, that's a blowback action pistol, which is why it's generally chambered in 380, or what you might call 9mm short, or 9mm Kurtz. When you get to a 9mm round, there's so much more pressure, they needed to go to a locked breech action, and this is the first locked breech action that actually incorporated that feature. Now we see them all the time in the Beretta line of pistols and the Sig Sauer line of pistols. We see them in the HKs and so on, and we think it's a modern, really modern design. Well, it started back in 1938 with the Germans when they figured it out with this pistol. Another thing that's really cool about this pistol is the loaded chamber indicator. A lot of people think that's new because of states like California that require it. But this pistol, which was designed in 1938, had a loaded chamber indicator, which you could see when you were looking down the barrel of the gun. When you're sighting in the gun, you could see that little rod poking out. You could feel it with your finger, and you could find out immediately. In pitch black darkness, you could feel it, or you could see it if you were pointing the gun downrange, and you could tell that your chamber was loaded. So as you can see, this little P38 has got a lot of history to it. They're a lot of fun to shoot. They're a magnificent pistol. They're extremely well made. They're extraordinarily reliable, and they served the German Army very, very well for quite some time. Thank you very much for watching my videos and my channel. I really deeply appreciate it. It's because of you that the channel is growing. If it wasn't for you, we'd be just spinning our wheels and wasting our time. So thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already subscribed, I want to ask you to please do that. There's a little tab right up here for you to subscribe with, and if you click on that, you can subscribe to our channel, and every time we come up with a new video, we'll let you know, and that way you can take a look at it. Also, you can check out, if you'd like, our Facebook page or Twitter page, and also the blog. I write articles there periodically so that you can check out whatever I might write on gun subjects or the laws that we're facing in California and around the country. That's the stuff that I put on the blog periodically, so you might find something interesting there too. And if you discover that none of these links that I've told you about work on your mobile device, well, sometimes that happens. So we put all the links down in the description. So if you find that these don't work, just go down to the description. You can find all the links there. Now, if you're not a member of the National Rifle Association and you like gun videos and you like shooting and those kind of things, you really need to be. So I'm going to put a link right here so you can join the NRA. It will save you some money. I got you a deal. I don't know about you, but I love deals. Yeah, that's what happens when you're not rich. You like deals, and I got one for you. This way you can join the NRA for a year for less than the cost of one box of ammunition, and you can add your voice, and it's a very valuable voice to the rest of ours as we fight for our Second Amendment rights across the country. Now, again, if this link doesn't work, just go down into the description. You'll find it there as well. If you happen to have a gun for home defense or you carry a gun like I do every day, unfortunately, there may come a time when you have to use it to defend your life or the life of someone else. And if that's the case, you may very well find yourself in court, either being sued or being prosecuted. You might find yourself in jail. Well, you're going to need a lot of money to bail yourself out of jail and pay for the lawsuits and pay the attorneys. And rather than have to sell your home and everything you own and lose everything doing it, I suggest that you get yourself some legal backup. That's what I've done. I use a company called Second Call Defense. So my first call after I've had to defend myself is to the police. My second call is going to be to Second Call Defense because they're going to have an attorney on the phone with me 24/7, 365. So I can take that phone, hand that to the police officer and say, "Officer, here's my attorney," and that way maybe they won't be able to, pound on me so much verbally to get me to answer questions at that moment, and I can avoid answering questions for the police until I've spoken to my attorney. They're also going to provide money to bail me out of jail. If I get arrested, they'll wire money directly to a bondsman to bail me out, and they'll wire money directly to an attorney of my choice to get me all ready to go for my defense. Whether I'm being sued or whether I'm being prosecuted doesn't matter, and they'll keep paying that attorney, so I don't have to sell everything I own to defend myself. The wonderful thing is I never have to pay any of that money back. That's what they do for a very small monthly fee. That's why I use them to protect me and my family, and that's why I recommend them to you. Check them out. There's a link right here. Now, if the link doesn't work, it's also in the description. Thank you again for watching my channel. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you a lot, and I'm grateful that you do watch. Please have a wonderful week. Stay out of the rain if it's raining where you are like it is here, and most of all, be safe.